You are listening to the ESG and Coffee Podcast on investment, strategy, and sustainability, hosted by Graham Sinclair.
I'm Kat, the producer working hard to keep Graham and his guests on the ESG and Coffee Podcast on time and on track. I sometimes ask, what exactly does that jargon mean to the rest of us? And we have a few laughs. And then I walk my dog. We have chosen a fantastic list of guests. I'm not an investment person, but I get what they're saying. It matters. So who is Graham Sinclair? Graham has been working in the long-term investment industry since law school. From 2006, he's run an advisory boutique focused on investment, strategy, and sustainability, working for investment ecosystem clients on ESG globally, from Wall Street to Geneva to Cape Town. He writes and lectures at Villanova and Harvard, and most days would rather be cycling his gravel bike in Vermont. Here's Graham on why we need another podcast and introducing Season 1.
The ESG and Coffee Podcast is my new interview-based podcast on investing, strategy, and sustainability, examining the how and future of ESG. Let me introduce you by answering 4 so what questions and offer you a window on some of our first guests. Firstly, does the world need another podcast and on ESG? Well, yes, it needs the ESG and Coffee Podcast. There are other podcasts for news, sound bites, or spin on investment or ESG. Some we can even recommend. But ours is unique in being curious about the humans doing the work and how the investments they make become the world we live in. Investment is about relationships and angles, about edges. The long-form interviews of leading voices in the investment value chain that we are hosting offer guests the time to share their insights with nuance. I think that comes through pretty well in the interviews we have so far, and which you'll listen to shortly. Secondly, so who's the audience? Well, firstly, it's everyone with investment and ESG in their job description. And secondly, it's everyone who is impacted by the systemic shift to stakeholder capitalism. ESG matters not only to investment advisors, or asset managers, and pension funds, but to every organization looking for finance or investment today, from governments to head offices to small businesses on Main Street. Our audience is the humans asking, what do investors want? We have the long-form interview, so you can really follow along and understand how these humans think and what is the detail of the work that they're doing. Thirdly, who are we interviewing? Well, we interview zero algorithms, only humans, and hopefully with a little wit and some serendipity and a good dose of calling BS on investment as usual. No doubt some guests will be a strong cup of coffee. Making high-quality interviews is harder than it looks, we've found that out. We're here to talk frankly about novel investment theses, good and bad ideas, numbers and narratives, epic fails, as well as the threat of greenwashing and what Greta Thunberg calls blah blah blah. There are no PR handlers. Our parameters are don't get fired, but don't be boring. And fourthly, why coffee? Well, other than the fact that I really like the stuff, ideas drive investments, and coffee has been central to the spread of ideas for centuries. Thanks, Ethiopia. In cafes from Istanbul to the city, Wall Street to Sand Hill Road, Cape Town to the Bund, Sao Paulo to La Défense. Thousands of investment meetups happened over coffee today somewhere around the world, some more clandestine than others. In Season 1, the originals, I've selected humans who've been doing this for longer than the last bonus cycle. Our interviews include one of the most rare humans, a not white old man running an investment firm for a decade, a money manager who made 114% return in a year, a woman who's changed the conversation on inclusion in investment, the person whose salty takes on ESG are Twitter's fiercest reality checks, and a global healthcare investor whose after-hours performing arts makes the case for sustainability. All of these are investment professionals helping make investment integrating ESG happen in the 21st century. There's so many interesting people that I look forward to sharing with you. So from an idea first sparked in August 2015, finally the people and the technology meet the moment. Thank you to all the friends who've helped on the journey, especially Katie in Durham, Tim in Washington, D.C., Quinn in Hawaii, Daniel in Back Bay, musician Erin Bonney in Boston, and my super producer, Kat Farquharson in Cape Town. Please follow on Twitter and Instagram at ESG and Coffee for news on upcoming episodes and to suggest compelling guests. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe and look out for Season 1, Episode 1, coming soon.
You have been listening to the ESG and Coffee Podcast on investing, strategy, and sustainability, hosted by Graham Sinclair.